The Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship arrived in Christchurch for round 3. The city is well on its way to rebuild after the quakes and extends a warm welcome to high-profile events like the Lone Star Canterbury Rally. Round 2 at Otago had seen Richard Mason set out in winning style, totally dominating the day 1 stages, while Chris West and Emma Gilmore had to settle in a battle for second. But all that ended for Westy on the first stage of day 2. Rolling out of the rally and destroying the Rally Art New Zealand Mitsubishi Evo 10. Then Richard Mason punctured in the forest, losing 2 minutes. That saw Ben Hunt take the lead on day 2. But when Emma Gilmore withdrew, Mason moved back to second for day 2 and finished the outright rally winner. So Richard Mason with 84 points after 3 rounds, well ahead of Matt Summerfield on 39, with Lance Williams dropping to third on 31.
Here at Canterbury Rally, there's one thing different, nighttime stages, which means we're going to use lights. We're going to go through the different technology in lights. These are the older type, tungsten filament style of lamp. This was used sort of like probably from the 70s and all the Mark II escorts and rallying, and they're still used today, quite an effective form of lighting. In about 2005, Hella come out with the Predator. This is a gas discharge style of lamp, very, very white, bright light. These roads, there's no external light. You've got to rely solely on the light on the car. Try and light up the road going 160, 180 kilometres an hour on gravel. They've got to see a long way in front. This is the new kid on the block, LED lighting. We've seen LED lights make their way into houses, commercial buildings. This is the first time we're going to see it on rally cars in New Zealand. The lights are a lot smaller, which means the driver doesn't have to look over the light pod. And on top of that, less current from the alternator, so it's not going to load up the alternator as much. It's going to be interesting to see the onboards coming out of this car. With me now, last year's winner, Chris West. Westy, talk to us about driving these cars so quickly in the pitch black of night.
Well, these are your best. These are going to be your best friend for tonight. For these 2 stages out in the forest. What you've got in the middle is 2 pencil lights, which will give you the your straight line speed vision, 350 metre vision on them. And then, of course, you've got your 2 side ones, commonly known as a spreader, and it's more effective for your smaller, lower speed corners, tighter corners that they're going to experience tonight in the forest.
Of course, we do think about it, what it's like from a driving point of view, but do the co-drivers have some special challenges?
I mean, absolutely. It's vital to have you know, light in the car, and in order to call the notes, and sometimes it's even more important to have a backup for that light. You know, there's 30-something k's tonight in the forest, so it's like an intercom. You need backup for that. It's very critical, and can't see, you can't read those nights.
Hi, I'm Richard Mason, bringing you the B&T stage preview from the Palms in Christchurch for Rally Canterbury 2014. First up tonight, we have got some night stages out in the forest at Ashley. First stage is very much a nice stage. You know, there's a few tightening corners, lots of gravel on the road, but the second one, man, that's going to be quite interesting. When we come to this really slippery, tight section with some real tightening downhill corners that are really going to catch a few people out.
One of the drivers tipped for a good result here is Ben Hunt, after he finished first on day 2 of Otago.
You know, we've had a bit of misfortune in the first few rounds, and we had a good second day at Otago, so we'll be wanting to back up that good result tonight and tomorrow.
And the road's quite different compared to Otago.
Yeah, they are and they aren't. Like the forestry stages are pretty similar in places, and then obviously the public roads in Cheviot are really fast in times, and yeah, we're looking to push pretty hard in one of those stages. It's got quite a lot of twisty stuff in the middle.
It's a very good debut for the car in Otago, but you did have a few small engine dramas. Are you on top of those now?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've had a good run in the car the other day, and it's looking real good.
This car was made looking at the WRC cars with the big suspension travel. Do you think it's going to be good on that rough stuff?
Yeah, I think we've got we have a slight advantage tonight. I mean, certainly, I broke a lot of rims at Otago that, I've never done before, because we seem to be able to hit so much more stuff without, you don't even notice it in the car, but certainly, the car will take it.
Emma Gilmore's car also ideal on these rough forest roads.
I think the car has shown its potential there. There's still a bit more speed to be found, and a lot of it will come with my confidence in the car as I do more miles. This event's quite different in the roads that we'll be travelling on. They're more forestry and quite tricky stages in some ways. You know, Otago's very fast with lots of commitment over crests. This is probably a little bit more technical, and I think the car could be well suited to these types of roads.
Your mentor Hayden Patton always made soft tyres work real well on this car. I've noticed you got some softs on. You're going to have a crack tonight.
Yeah, we thought we'd give it a chance. I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I mean, now's as good a time as any. There's heaps of frost out there and it's real cold, so hopefully it goes well.
If ever there was a time for soft tyres, it is in the cooler tonight. Fast stages, a lot of cooling on the tyres as well, so I think you're going to have a good go.
Oh, I'm glad you said that then, Glenn. Hopefully hope for the best.
So the cars leave the Palms shopping mall in Christchurch as the sun sets.
14 is underway. Richard Mason is the first to head out.
But it's dark when Richard Mason lines up at the start of stage 1. Straight and paint, 13.26 kilometres. It's long uphill to the spectator point, and then there's the black icy road conditions.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Frosty long 3 left. And
just look at those lights. Richard's got them set up perfectly.
3 plus, keep in.
And I think you can see some of the ice we're talking about. Very, very cold out on those stages.
And 4 right, plus.
This being a forestry road, it's well used, so I don't think road position's going to play a part. Richard will be out there first in a good time.
4 right, 15.
Great to see a crowd out of the chilly night conditions for the spectacle.
Plus and long fast, 3 left cut.
So down to the finish, and Mason will be the first to stop the clock. 9 minutes 05.8. First of the Canterbury drivers now, Matt Summerfield, former Rally Canterbury winner. Well down on time here, 9 minutes 52.6. Looks like he's got a few problems. Leading rookie Lance Williams, third off the line. This will be new for him and a lot of the other drivers too after about, only a kilometre of night stages in Whangarei.
4 left plus, into a flat out 5 right plus 50.
Yeah, it's a big call to go straight into these night stages. Lance is doing a very good job this year. He's really worked on consistency, getting some good stages in and making sure he gets valuable experience for the years to come.
He finishes 30 seconds down on Mason. Next up, David Holder. Started so well, showed good speed in round 1, backed out up with a podium in round 2, but still trailing in the points.
Yeah, not so many points from in round 1, but certainly got a big haul in round 2. He'll be wanting to add to that and really start to move up the points table. And you can see the big light pot in the front there. It's great for putting light out, but a little bit hard to see around through some of those corners.
Just 3.6 seconds off Mason, though. That's a great start. Now it's Matt Jansen, our second Canterbury Rally driver, also around 30 seconds slower. So can Ben Hunt challenge Richard Mason's time?
Keep in, 5 right minus into sudden left.
The car's cut out again.
Sudden 3 left.
He's got to do a reset, try and get the thing fired up.
16.
It's away again, but they've had problems ever since they've owned this car with it intermittently cutting out. It must be very frustrating.
Short 6 right plus keep in.
He's certainly going all right now, though.
Left over finish. 80.
Let's see what the time's going to be, how that affects the stage time. 9 minutes 02.4, he's fastest. Good comeback. Emma Gilmore, though, in the stage, 9 minutes 25.1, so she's 4th fastest.
And 5 right plus, short 5 left minus, 6 right minus.
We talked about these new cars and how good they'll be on the rough road, so how's Andrew Hawkswood going to go?
Well, he's got a bit of a legend in the co-driver's seat there with Mark Tapper.
Short, 4 right and 4 left
Bit of fun,
plus.
but let's just see what the time is.
Well, as we head to stage 2, Palm side, Hawkswood's actually gone 4th fastest here. So into the top 5.
Plus, repeat. Whoa.
Now we're back with Richard Mason finding the road just a little bit tricky.
This is a section of the road all the drivers have been talking about before this rally. Very tricky, downhill, slippery, wet, potentially some ice. I think they're all a bit worried, so they'll just want to get through. Oh, he's almost off the road.
Told you about that.
4 right plus, 35.
I think he's just going to be a little bit cautious.
Minus over crease ahead.
Well, he certainly is the icebreaker on this stage. 14 minutes 57 the time. Now Matt Summerfield reporting gearbox issues, so a miserable night for the young Cantab. Lance Williams also caught out here, losing another 45 seconds on the stage.
Well, it just looks like he hasn't come down enough gears with the sequential gearbox, but he's away now.
But a steady pace for Holder again, just 9.2 seconds slower than Mason. A good result considering the conditions.
Well, he's keeping it nice and tidy. He's certainly on the right tyre for these roads, but it's still very, very slippery. You've got to keep on line. And he's just trying to run a little bit wide. That's the same corner Mason went off, so it's obviously extremely slippery.
Right minus.
Now on board with Matt Jansen, really struggling in the Subaru.
Matt's made some small changes to the car in between rallies. I'm not quite sure if it's working for him through here, but he's just going to take some time to get some confidence.
Right, Ben Hunt looking to extend the lead, but hopeful that his engine won't cut out.
He just loves that tight stuff, and he's just charging at it. That was great on board, and he's going real well.
4 left minus.
We're heading down through this slippery bit. He looks like he's nice and on line. Downhill, remember.
Keep in 5 right plus.
Oh, he's a little bit wide.
5 right. Need second gear, mate.
Sounds like he's lost second gear too, but it hasn't slowed him down. Actually extends the lead. Unbelievable. Visibility issues here causing Emma Gilmore big problems though. She dropped to 9th.
5 right, 7 right.
Andrew Hawkswood would also strike trouble here, hitting a rock.
20. Ooh.
That was unlucky. That was on line. You can see right rear puncher there. He's obviously trying to drive out and minimise the time by not stopping. This can be a problem. The wheel's gone, brakes are gone. He's going to have to stop and change. He's lost all that time, and now he's going to change the wheel.
Looks like he's just running on the spokes, and unfortunately he'll drop back to last place. Phil Campbell finishes the night stages in 7th, but the real surprise was Richard Bannock, up to 4th place, although 1 minute 22 down on Hunt. Marcus Van Klink had taken the early lead in the Classics, but that was short-lived in these tricky conditions.
5 right, tidy. Oh.
Yeah, no, we're going quite good actually, just coming down here and we hit the brakes and I think we hit some ice and just speared off on the road there, and then the next car straight after us did the same thing, so it's parked nice in place as you can see, so unfortunate ending to the rally I think.
Ben Hunt goes to service with a 14-second lead over Richard Mason. Holder solid in 3rd, Bannock in 4th. Darren Galbraith leads the Class 5 contenders in 6th.
You know, when you come away from a night stage like that and you're up 14 seconds on a ex-champion and who's obviously very quick at night stages, yeah, we're stoked at it. So I couldn't really believe it when we got into the service park and got told, so yeah, it's awesome, stoked.
Andrew, 3 wheels on the wagon.
Yeah, no good. Had a big rock about 2 k's into the start of the last stage there, and yeah, just smashed the wheel instantly. Drove about 12 k's on it trying to get out, and then lost brakes and everything, so we had to stop and change it.
So your first thought was to drive out and lose less time, but it's ended up causing you more time loss?
Yeah, it did, unfortunately. We actually had another puncture in the first stage, so we had a low tyre, and then, yeah, I wasn't too keen to put that on, so we thought we'd try and get out, but no, it didn't work for us.
With some planning going on overnight, just how to get these cars repaired at the first service available tomorrow, and it's going to be exciting to see how Ben Hunt can carry on and see if he can keep this lead in front of Richard Mason.
Yeah, absolutely. Ben's done a fantastic job tonight. Like I said, small issues for him with his gearbox. Leading 15 seconds on Richard, followed by David Holder. So exciting times.
Coming up, what will daybreak bring as we head to the North Canterbury Road before finishing the day in the forest?
Hi, my name's Nicole Summerfield and this is my little brother Matt. And we're standing in my dad's workshop. This is our rally car. It's a 2003 Subaru Impreza. Matt and I have been racing it for the last 3 years, and Dad used to race it, so it's been in the family for a long time now, but she's still going strong. If anyone's seen my brother walking around the service park, you would have noticed something a little strange about what's on his feet. These things have been driving our car for the last couple of years. Matt, tell us, how did you find these boots?
In the hunt for some new boots, and we went to the mall one day and these popped up on the shelf, and I had a reasonable idea of what they were, so yeah, picked them up there, and they're probably the best boot I've ever had. They're definitely doing the distance.
Rallying is in our blood. This is my dad, Les. He has won the Canterbury Rally 2 times actually, which is apparently, and he reminds us often, one more than Matt. Isn't that right?
Yeah, true, exactly.
I was going to be a rally driver, but when I went to go out driving, a little incident happened, so I'll let Dad explain that one.
I was supposed to teach her how to drive, and she was going to go first, and then I said, no, I'll take you and show you the ropes. Well, we rolled 9 times in the bottom of a gully.
Earlier this year, a very dear friend of ours unfortunately passed away from cystic fibrosis. So since we're fit, young and healthy, and we do such an amazing sport, we thought, well, why not do something about it? At each round we do different things, and this rally we're actually deciding to do a rally tour. So we've got a great group of people coming out to watch the rally with us, and every ticket that they bought, money goes towards the charity. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Hi, Richard Mason here, a Sunday morning Rally Canterbury. Now this morning we've woken up and it's frosty and cold. A couple of great stages to go first thing this morning. The first one is a nice county road, really quite fast with quite a bit of tar seal in it. The second stage starts off fast, but then it goes into this really tight, twisty, sort of a goat track almost. And then 2 shorter stages later in the day before we head back into the forest for a repeat of last night's stages, run in reverse. So the last stage is the power stage. We've been through there last night, so it should be quite swept. Real even playing field for all the teams.
And what a scenic start to the morning stages too. Stage 3, rubber developments, starts at Motunau Beach. And perfect conditions, Glenn, if you like it, icy.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting stage. Richard's going to want to really get some time back and take the ascendancy in this rally. I think he's one to put on a good show and good time in these tricky, icy conditions.
As you can see there, it's very icy. Split time coming up at the spectator junction. 8 minutes 48 for Mason. Summerfield next, still nursing the gearbox with no 4th gear. But it's Lance Williams next through, so Summerfield is missing. Solid performance in the night stages by David Holder. Now, can he challenge the top 2?
5 right, narrow bridge.
And there's Summerfield, stopped on the side of the road, so obviously they haven't been able to cure all the problems from last night.
60.
Holder's split time then, 9:18.4. Matt Jansen, 8th after the night stages, looking for a much better stage here.
4 right minus over crest.
Yeah, well, Matt's going to use the daylight to get some confidence, but this is a very tricky stage. He looks a bit cautious. Look, that's ice on wood. You know, how do you get confident when you're going across that stuff?
Right hug and 4 left plus.
Here's his split time, 9:29.5. On board now with rally leader Ben Hunt defending a 14-second lead. Look at the ice there.
Right injunction.
And these stages are big, wide and open, so we know Ben likes the tight and twisty stuff. Let's just see how he goes through here. Watching out for that ice on that bridge again.
Split time, 9 minutes 09.8. Second.
Right 72, left up, open.
Emma Gilmore in trouble early in the stage.
Well, last night it was the mister problem, so she couldn't see out the front, but that smoke coming out, and that's never a good look. Smoke doesn't really go away until there's none left.
Split time, 9:54.4 losing time. What about Andrew Hawkswood now? Plenty of time to make up for him as well.
7 left
Look at this fog. It's amazing. Sometimes you can go through 1 minute after and it's cleared, but Andrew's certainly caught up in a little bit of fog here.
.180, long 5 right plus.
Phil Campbell, 6th overnight.
Looks like Summerfields are on the move again. They've lost a lot of time though, and they're still going slow.
Split time for Phil Campbell, 9:12.2, 3rd fastest. That's a good start. Looks like it's the end of the rally though for Matt and Nicole Summerfield. Smoke pouring out of the engine. You can only stand and watch as a lot of his mates, the Canterbury drivers, drive past.
No, I haven't had anything. Everything was going really good actually. It's getting used to not using fourth gear, so starting to get in the groove and then this.
And from the smoke to the ice, look out ahead because this is the same stage, but this is the ice in the latter part of the stage.
As you can see, Richard's still really pushing on. He was up quite a bit at that first split. He's going to carry that momentum all the way to the end of the stage and put in a very, very quick time that the others can try and catch.
Absolute perfect performance there, 17.9 the time. David Holder next to the top runners through, still pushing hard here to try and score a time of 15 minutes 03.2. Slightly wounded car of Ben Hunt with the car popping out of second gear. He was always vulnerable to Mason, second fastest on the stage, but 31 seconds down on Mason, so drops to second.
Small crest, 300. Small crest, 300.
But the real mover, it was Phil Campbell on this stage. 15 minutes .5, and that would move him into the top 5.
30. Long 5 left opens in junction, bridge.
And Richard Baddock keeping his fourth place intact, but just 2.8 ahead of Campbell. So Richard Mason turns a 14-second deficit into a 16-second lead over Hunt. Big gaps back to Holder and then Baddock, but the battle for fourth is close. Class 5, an opportunity for club racers to participate at national level, and again it's Darren Galbraith leading the way, 7th overall. Jeff Judd, a minute down. He lost time in the night stage, but was closing the gap after stage 3. Tony Gosling started to get to grips with the Subaru, in touch 30 seconds back. Jeff Torkington, the lone two-wheel drive competitor in the class. Service at Cheviot, and Mason happy with the progress.
Ben took some good time out of us last night, and I thought, well, this morning we'll, up the ante a bit and see how the pace is going to be for today. Taking a really good stage through there, a decent amount of time back out of Ben and into the lead. So, couldn't be much better start to the day.
The next stage you've got coming up is quite different in character. How will you attack this one?
Yeah, it's a good question, really. If it had been still closer with Ben, we would have attacked it. But I suppose at the moment we're thinking, how can we go through there as quick as possible and try and avoid a puncture and the like. So, that's our plan, is to just keep it clean, not try any tricks in there.
Ben, you've slipped to second in the rally, but you've become pretty good at these tight technical stages, and that's what's coming up next. Are you going to have a bit of a push?
Yeah, I love the tight stages, and I would be having a crack at Richard through there normally. We're normally pretty fast in the tighter stuff, so it's just a bit disappointing. We've opted to keep the dog box in and run with that buggered second gear, so we might struggle a bit in the middle of that stage. It gets really tight and pretty much a single lane, and so we might struggle a bit in there. You'll probably see Richard gain a bit more there, so pretty disappointed, but I think we're going to lose a lot more time changing the gearbox than what we would keeping it in.
Richard, Canterbury Rally last year really announced your arrival as part of this championship. You're having another strong run this year.
Yeah, no, we're doing really well. Some people say you do really well at your home rally, but these roads are new and they're new to me, so it's a level playing field for everybody, and it's, we're just doing really well. I'm just feeling really confident. The car's going really well in this fresh, cold air, so I'm loving it.
Coming up, the hunt is on for second and ice ahead, so take care. Stage 4, PM trailers, 33 kilometres, a stage of 2 halves. Big crowd following the rally this morning too, and one of the best spots to spectate is right here with Richard Mason on the charge.
This is the type of corner you really love to see in a rally. Downhill, you can see where you're going, tightening, but you get the back hanging out and really get into it.
100. Long 4 right, minus open.
Those tyres are warmed up.
Yep, not quite, minus open. Short 5.
Just how cold the day is, it can take a little bit longer for things like tyres and brakes to come up to working temperature.
Lance Williams next through, and take a look here at the contrast in this stage.
Yeah, we saw the big, wide, fast-flowing stuff on the outboards. Now we're on board, tight, twisty, Lots of frost around, lots of things to catch out the unwary driver. Lance looks like he's been very wary though.
David Holder alone in third place, not really able to challenge Hunt, but that could all change if anyone gets a puncture.
And just look at the size of the rocks. It only takes one car ahead of him to drag a rock like that onto the road. You can't do anything about it if you collect it in the...
Whoa, collects a slow spin there. That's going to cost him time. Matt Jansen really pushing hard. Podium at Otago, so he'd be hoping to follow that up on his home rally.
He hasn't quite had the speed that he had in Otago, but he's going to get onto some more familiar roads and hope to push on. And he can make up time in this sort of stuff.
Ben Hunt doing his best to stay in touch with the lead, but he would have a close call at the end of the stage. And that's because we're on board with Matt Jansen. He's slowing here right before the finish, making just enough room for Hunt to sneak through.
Broken? Yep.
Yeah, it looks like engine failure for Jansen there.
Unfortunately not alone though. Looks like Emma Gilmore, engine problems and more trouble.
40, we've got 26k to
Sometimes the cool air can actually play havoc with the engine tune. I just wonder whether that's played a part in both these problems. The car certainly did make good power in the cold, but maybe not strong enough.
Unfortunate for Emma, but Andrew Hawkswood had his problems so far in the rally. He climbs back up from last place.
Wait, now we're going to get screen again. Caution, 5 right. Caution, 5 right over crest. 4 left. She's gone bung. 6 right.
That looked like a lot of water. I hope he hasn't damaged the engine at all with the water.
4 left.
Of course, this car probably hasn't been through Fords that much, so maybe there's a little problem there, taking on some water.
Phil Campbell now in a battle for 4th place with Williams and Baddock.
That's really starting to be a cracker of a battle. Not much time in that at all. They're really going to have to push on hard and to see who will get the best of this one.
And you can also see there Emma Gilmore out of the car and out of the rally. Baddock losing just 15 seconds to Campbell, but that would drop him to 6th in a tight race. So Mason extends his lead, but Hunt's still in touch. Campbell and Williams move past Baddock, but 5 seconds between these three. Jansen would retire out of 8th position at this stage. Waikari, the final stop on the Weka Pass Vintage Railway, next stop for the teams.
We see the guys checking their wheel alignment. Is that just because it was a rough stage, or did you hit something?
A bit of both. It was a really rough stage in the second half, and I had a wee spin and nudged a bank and ran over a rock and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, just double checking everything.
You must be pretty happy maintaining your podium position.
Yeah, that's the aim for today. Just keep everything under control and stay through it. We're happy with that.
The battle for 4th, lots of pressure.
We want to stay ahead of Lance Williams and stay in 4th position. But yeah, he beat us in the last stage, so we'll have to keep trying pretty hard.
It is quite a tight battle between the three of you.
Yeah, it is, that makes it interesting. But obviously we would just want to get as much experience in the car, so our main goal is to finish. But to get a 4th position or even better would be a bonus.
Now, the battle for 2-wheel drive honours had seen Max Bailey put up some astounding times through the first 4 stages. 10th overall after the night. He would be 11th by stage 4, but just 6 seconds behind the Subaru of Tony Gosling.
I was going into it just planning on taking it easy and finishing, and I actually thought I wasn't going too quick through them, but as I got to the end and checked the times, I got quite a big surprise, and we were pretty stoked with the times going through there.
Now back in 13th place, Auckland's David Thexton. Another solid performance here in the South Island, and he loves his motorsport, Glenn.
Yeah, he's done a lot of different types of motorsport, Ashley Forest Rally Sprint, rallies. He's even done some V8 supercar driving, so he's just a guy that really likes getting out there on the stages, having some fun. He's certainly enjoying having possible motorsport runner's car now.
Also having fun, Hamish Anderson and Sarah Brennan in the 1600 2-wheel drive class. And with Van Klink out of the points race after the crash on stage 2, Andy Martin was the classic leader in the RX3. But on stage 4, Ron Davey took the lead in the class. But it was close, just under 4 seconds between them.
We're having a few handling issues for the first 2 rallies, so we've managed to make a few tweaks, and it's a completely different car. But unfortunately, we've got a gearbox change to make now, so other than that, it's been going good.
Van Klink had re-entered in the morning. He wasn't counted in the results, but could still score points on the final power stage. So this morning was all about setting up the car and having a bit of fun.
6 right minus, mate, next one.
Have a listen to that rotary. He's hard up it.
Stage 5 Digger Link and Stage 6 Top Wire, the final 2 county road stages before we head back to the forest. Still icy though in the shady parts like Richard Mason Air, bit of a cautious approach at the end of this 220 km/h straight. Second on the road, Lance Williams. So the rookie doing a great job keeping the car straight.
At the beginning of the year, I didn't have big expectations for Lance, but he's proven himself to be very consistent and also learning fast. He's really starting to get some good speed out of this car.
In fact, Williams was just 0.1 slower than David Holder. But it was Ben Hunt, really impressing, second fastest, just 2.1 down on Mason.
He's learning to drive this car with the problem in second gear. It still will go in, it's just if you lift off the throttle, it'll jump out of gear. So he's just being very careful about how he gets second.
Phil Campbell maintaining the lead in the battle for 4th place. Stage 6 Top Wire. Let's take a look at the head-to-head battle. Mason versus Hunt. Hunt is on the right.
Just 100 metres in, Hunt was actually ahead, so second gear's working when he's loaded up.
So a small advantage on the start, but can Ben take another stage win?
500. Keep in, 6 right plus 100.
Oh, hanging on to it towards the end. 2 minutes 52.6, yes, 1.9 faster. David Holder safe in 3rd overall, but he also had a great battle on the stage with Phil Campbell. Campbell just 0.4 behind Holder on the stage despite going off the road and hanging on to it. Lance Williams and Richard Baddock also part of this tight battle for 4th place. Williams 2 minutes 58.1 on the stage. Baddock chasing hard. He lost the front bumper, but just 1.9 behind Williams. Still out of the top 10, but Andrew Hawkswood 3rd fastest on the stage, 2 seconds behind Mason. So after 6 stages, Mason just 23.9 ahead in what is looking like a well-managed race, but a puncture in the forest could change everything. Darren Galbraith held on to a comfortable lead in Class 5. Jeff Judd closed the gap, but still 1 minute 20 behind. While Tony Gosling looked like 3rd place was all his.
Yeah, a couple of new tyres for the last couple of stages today. So, you know, it could be a little bit slippery in the second to last stage. So, bit of edge there, and then the last stage, obviously the power stage, so we'll be wanting to do a good job in there.
The power stage is the last stage. Yeah. Are you going to try and win that one and get the maximum bonus points?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a bit of a dud season so far, so all the extra points help. So, yeah, that's an awesome stage, a nice flying wide one. So we'll have a bit of a crack in there and hopefully she come out on top.
David, you're comfortably in 3rd place. What's the plan for the last 2 stages?
Get to the finish, hopefully. We've got a few issues with the car at the moment. The engine's sort of starting to make a few noises. So we had the cam cover off and had a quick look, but there's not much we can do.
And this battle for 4th really helping to build the confidence of Lance Williams.
Just pushing a lot harder now because I'm used to these roads that are just the recent 2 were quite the same as the ones up north. So trying to push a bit harder and get up there a bit further.
And you're going to try and get that 4th place? There's only about 5 seconds in it.
Yeah, aiming for it, so hopefully.
Coming up, 2 stages to go, including the bonus 5-point power stage. Stage 7, 25 kilometres in the forest again, including a couple of fords. So Mason, very careful here, would be easy to puncture. Just 23 seconds too separating Mason and Hunt, so both still a chance.
The hug 4 right minus 30. Short 4 right.
He's just clipped a rock there on the left-hand side of the car. He's going to be lucky to get away with that one. You might just see the left rear under that car flopping around. Let's just see.
Go flat out with it? I don't know.
Well, you can hear it.
Rip the subframe out. You put McDonald's trays on my back wheels. I think I did.
But in the other close battle for fourth, Lance Williams pulled out a lead with a measured attack on stage 7. He was third fastest, but easily beat his competitors.
Remember, there's only 5 seconds going into the last 2 stages, but I think he's wanted to get it done in this stage, not have to wait to the last stage. This is a cracker time.
Phil Campbell not able to match the pace. 47 seconds slower than Williams, so drops to 5th with no chance of making that time up in the final stage. Richard Baddock not able to match the more modern cars in these conditions, so he dropped back as well in 6th. In Class 5, Darren Galbraith lucky to take the win after he damaged his exhaust and limped home. But it was Tony Gosling who followed him home in 2nd in the class after Jeff Judd struck problems in stage 8, eventually finishing 8th overall. And wrapping up the Dirty Dozen, Dave Thexton, 12th overall.
And 3 rallies, 3 finishes. This is a big turnaround in reliability from last year, so he'll be stoked to get to the end.
First in 2-wheel drive and 9th outright, Max Bailey, another great result despite having no Fiestas to battle with. Hamish Anderson, 13th overall, class win in the 1600 2-wheel drives. And after taking the class lead, Ron Davies struck problems and stopped on stage 8. And so frustrating too because he was just inside of the finish line.
In the historic class, we're having trouble, so we thought we were going to be in for a good finish, and if we'd lasted a few more metres we could have coasted to the finish, but it wasn't to be, sadly. The engine gave up just over the brow there.
So Andy Martin takes the win in the classic class.
That's a good result for the crew as well. They did a good job getting that gearbox changed.
But of course still a 5-point bonus up for grabs for Marcus Van Klink. If Davey had finished, he would have taken the class points lead, but Van Klink gets the job done, takes the 5 points and holds on to the Classic Championship lead. So to the power stage, and Richard Mason first through, and with a 1-minute lead he could afford to let Hunt go and just sort of play it safe.
He could do, but we know Richard, and that's not what he's going to do. He'll want to win this power stage, make it the perfect rally and take away maximum points towards his championship for the year.
Sets a good time too. 8 minutes 29.2, so what can the rest do? Williams next through, probably thinking more about a finish at this stage rather than trying to take out the 5 bonus points.
I think for Lance, this rally's all been about really stepping up the pace. 4th place for the rally, and a rally not through attrition, but through genuine speed. He's got the result.
David Holder nursing a sick engine, so 8 minutes 41.6, but secures the podium finish. Can Ben Hunt grab this important stage win? 2nd overall assured, but he would love those 5 bonus points.
He'll like those points, but I think he just wants to show that he's equally as good as Richard Mason, and he'll want to win this stage and take those points from Richard.
7 left, 6 right. Keep in 6 left, and to keep in 6 right.
Time down to the line, 8 minutes 29.7, 2nd fastest, so 0.5 down. Andrew Hawkswood could pick up much needed points here too. He's had a troublesome rally.
80.
Certainly doesn't sound like he's got all the horses under that bonnet.
4 left minus opens, 150.
It's gone bungo, it's got no boost.
Yeah, I can hear it leaking, dude.
Yeah.
150.
I say that's a turbo problem for sure.
Despite that, he's 5th fastest, so 1 point at the moment. Phil Campbell, another 8.9 seconds back, so out of the top 5, secures 5th overall.
Again.
Long 6 left plus opens, 250.
Richard Baddock punctured on the last stage, so lost time, but still finished a creditable 6th overall. So in the power stage, 5 points to Mason. Hunt so close. Hawkswood salvages a point in 5th.
Richard, you won the rally, you set the benchmark for the power stage. Congratulations to the whole B&T Mason Motorsport team.
Thanks, Inky. You know, like our B&T Subaru's run awesomely this weekend, really faultless. You know, this last couple of stages have been really great fun. You know, a little bit of pressure on from Ben, so he had a bit of a push on. So, you know, we're really happy. Fantastic. Woohoo!
Ben just 0.5 of a second down on this power stage, but a great rally. You've shown some good speed to take it to Richard.
Yeah, you know, we're pretty happy with that stage time through there. It's we've had a lot of dramas this year, and the stage before that we got a puncture about 15k in and had to do the last 10k with a tyre that was pretty much stripped off its bead on the back left. So yeah, we're pretty lucky to still be doing the rally. And you know, down here I didn't get a chance to set the tyre pressures and got one tyre done and ran out of time. So you know, it was a bit of a laugh, and we got here in the end. So it's awesome.
Confirming that result, Richard Mason over a minute to Ben Hunt, podium 3rd for David Holder. So celebration back at the Palms in Christchurch. Looking at the points, Mason looking good for the title, but 5 drivers can challenge for 2nd place now. Next up, we head to round 4, Wairarapa, another tough challenge in the battle for the Brian Green Property Group New Zealand Rally Championship.